couldn't face my failure because deep inside, I know what I chose. And I chose to fill those deep holes inside of me, which was loneliness, fear, the need to be loved. And I filled them with materialism. I filled them with lustful relationships with men because I was desperate for love. And I needed someone to accept me for who I was. My father was an ex-alcoholic. Not only was he abusive verbally and manipulative and controlling with us children, he was physically aggressive, and he would come home from work raging. And I felt really cheated. Like, what's wrong with me? Is it me? Is the reason why my father doesn't love me, or so I was thinking, is because I'm unlovable and I'm ugly and I've done something wrong. And so as a child, I think I self-blamed. I had this huge identity problem with who I was and what was my purpose and what am I here for. And I fantasized about being a princess. And then I go into my teen years and now I'm just this girl that's blossoming to some beautiful, young girl. And the boys at school started paying attention. And since I didn't get attention from my father, of course, that was a natural magnet for me to have my heart just completely drawn to the boys that were giving me attention. And it's a simple fit. It was like hand meets glove, let's go, And so I ended up dating this one man when I was a teenager that told me he loved me, that we were supposed to get married and have children. And when I finally realized that he was cheating on me with 3 other of my friends, which was pretty traumatic for me, I got an attitude and I broke up with him. But I think there was something inside of me that clicked where I wanted to now become the person in control. I wanted to become my father, I think. I wanted to become that person that was now hurt and angry. And so when I left high school, I was on this complete vendetta of revenge, I think, not only towards that boy in high school, but towards men in general, towards my father. I started going to parties, getting drunk, smoking pot, date raped. I can't even count how many times. Got a job, got 3 jobs actually. I was a workaholic and I go out to the clubs. At this club one night, I had a fake ID, I was 18, and these men walked up to us, bought us a drink, and I was all about getting free drinks, okay? I was like, I am not paying for nothing. And these men basically told us, hey, we're men of stature because we have a car business and we are real estate agents and we're very wealthy and you should get to know us. So bought us a drink. My girlfriend ends up talking to one of the men and she ends up dating the man she meets that night, and she moves to Hawaii. She calls me up and says, I'm on the beach, I've got a cell phone, talking to you from my car, I'm in a Corvette. Girl, it's beautiful here. Seriously, you need to take vacation. I was like, I'm in, I am in. Well, what are you doing out there? She's like, well, just wait till you get here. I don't really want to tell you over the phone. And just in the back of my mind, I knew something wasn't ethically right. I had thought to myself, these guys that we met are either drug dealers or they're laundering money, or maybe they're pimps, I'm not sure. And right on the money, they were pimps. When I got to Hawaii, my girlfriend adamantly said, no, he's not a pimp. He has friends that are pimps. He's my boyfriend. And so she teaches me how to, for the first time, Waikiki Beach, she teaches me how to sell myself on the street. And we're not talking $50, and we're not talking $1, we're not talking 25, we're not talking 100. We started at 500 and went up from there. And to me, $500 an hour or $1,000 an hour compared to $3.47 an hour. The math is pretty easy to figure out. And I quit all my jobs, started working the escort service in Minnesota, didn't like it, they didn't have a lot of money, the men in Minnesota, and I started working in the exotic strip club, as I figured, you know what, I'll dance on stage, because I love to dance anyway, and I will pick my clients. And probably about a half a year into it, in walks this man. And he was absolutely gorgeous. Sits down at the stage, and I had to dance back then. We had 3 sets at this certain club that I worked at. We had a long stage and lights surrounding the stage. And I get off the pole and I walk towards him and I sashay myself. And because he laid out this beautiful fan of money, And I was thinking to myself, okay, most men will hand a dollar, a 20, or a $5 bill to me. And this man had a couple $100. And I was like, I'm gonna dance for this guy. And I got to know him. He bought me a drink, started taking me out, bought me roses, took me shopping. My girlfriend that had taught me how to sell myself, she said, hey, we're living in Las Vegas now. The money in Vegas is phenomenal. Wait till you get out here. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance. And basically, I brought him with me to Vegas. And the first night that I worked, I brought money home, sat it down on the table, and I told him, hey, listen, I'm a call girl. And he ended up telling me to break myself. And the only time I had heard that term was in a couple rap songs, and I was like, excuse me? I ain't breaking nothing. I had an attitude, oh, trust me, for days. And he proceeded to take me by the back of my hair and drag me into the kitchen. And he started to bang my head between the cupboards, and blood's coming out of my temples and out of my nose. And he takes me to the back of the house and starts profusely beating me with his boots and kicking me in my head and kicking me in my ribs. My ribs cracked and my nose cracked. And he took me in a room and he locked me in there. He took all my ID, he took my purse away, and basically brought in a pack of ice and put it on my head and some bandages and started wiping my face clean of all the blood. And he started kissing me on my forehead and my face and telling me that, look what you did to me. You made me do this to you. See, baby, if you get out of line, this is what's gonna happen. I'm your pimp now. And I love you. And I own you. I ended up staying with this man as he brought underage girls home with fake IDs, and for many years, for 5 years. And I literally was in the lifestyle around it, probably for the next 10, 11 strong years total, deep into prostitution, pimping, the entire lifestyle. I never dealt with my post-traumatic stress disorder. I never dealt with the pain of my childhood. I never dealt with the pain of the abuse of my pimp. And basically, I was on drugs right before I left prostitution for about a year, 2 years. I had gotten out of chemotherapy and radiation. I had cancer. And so when I got out the first 11 years, I didn't have Christ. I started doing cocaine. And when you lose everything in front of you, it's bad enough you do it once, twice, but when you lose it for the third time, you become undone. One night I was getting really high and I just thought about everything that I had ever done in my life, and I thought, God, I don't have a reason to live. What is my purpose? Why the hell am I here? Why? Because it's all pain. Like, is this what life is? Like, I've tried everything, and you know, in the back of my mind, you know, I've prayed to Jesus. I've walked in rooms where men abused me and raped me and took all my money back from working, and almost gotten thrown out of hotel rooms. And this is what I've done it for? Doing cocaine? And now I'm going back on the Las Vegas Strip and I'm turning tricks again and I'm selling myself again to get my drugs? How disgusting am I? I'm no better than anybody. No better than a child molester, than a pimp, than another prostitute, than a druggie, than a thief. I hated myself. And I just wanted to fade. I didn't care if I lived. I was disgusted with myself, and I took that hit of cocaine because at this point I was smoking it. I'm having this heart attack and the whole room goes black because I fell back and I couldn't hear and I couldn't see. I went blind, and I said his name. I said, Jesus, if you're real, because at this point I don't know. I don't feel you, and I didn't feel him because I felt this separation of my soul from God. And I just remember just praying and crying out to him in my mind and just screaming his name, help me God, help me Jesus. And I got to the hospital and I was laying in that bed and I opened my eyes. I came to, and this doctor came over to me and he said, "You should be dead right now. Seriously, you should be dead. I don't know how you survived what you just did to yourself, but God must be with you." And it just clicked in my spirit and my soul, in my mind and my heart. He heard me. I thought I was gonna die because I saw my funeral. I saw a vision of my funeral in that dark place in a coffin, and I was just this drug addicted, worthless thief of a prostitute. And basically, that moment in my life changed everything. And I have not gone back, and that was August 2nd, 2003. I have never turned my life back to that old life. Immediately delivered from narcotics, immediately delivered from prostitution. Just a miraculous, beautiful freedom I felt that day that I can't describe. And the first step that I had to take was surrender my life completely to Jesus Christ. His love is what made me surrender. And that's what really did it for me, I think, is the key to my own prison into myself and my self-hate, my self-depravity, my shame, my guilt, my fears, was knowing that he loved me despite my state. And I just had this huge heart for the women that I had walked with. I started asking God, I was like, "God, I know that you have a purpose for me. I know that those women that I used to work with need you." That's what started the ministry in 2005. The main core of our ministry is to teach women that God loves them, no matter where they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what they've done, that their identity is in Christ, that they are daughters of the King, that they have a purpose, that God has an amazing plan, that it is bigger and that it is more outrageously marvelous than they can ever imagine, hope for, or dream. That's the purpose of our ministry.